So remember, in Chappelle's Netflix special, it's called The Closer. He joked about trans women, about genitalia. He said he was a TERF, trans exclusionary radical feminist. Yeah, look, he also said that he got into a fight with a lesbian woman he didn't know was a lesbian woman at the time. He also talked about white people. He talked about a lot of people in this special. And he offended a lot of people. So joining me now, W. Kamau Bell, the host of CNN's United Shades of America. And you offend a lot of people in your comedy, I'm sure, every day. But anyway, Kamau, good to see you. I'm glad you're here. Thank you. I can't wait to hear your perspective. After all this backlash, well, first of all, tell me what you think before I ask all these questions.
What do I think? There's so many things to think about this. I think that the thing about stand-up comedy is it's one-way traffic. When a stand-up comic stands on stage and talks, they're not actually asking for your opinion. So Chappelle gets to say whatever he wants to say, and he gets to set the terms of the debate, which means that whenever he wants to, he can shift the debate, which is what he did in this new thing he released. Because I don't know that any of the trans people at Netflix were asking to meet with Dave Chappelle, but now he said it. Suddenly we're talking about that, when really they were talking about creating a safer work environment and a work environment that supported them better.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so after all the backlash, he says that he wants to set the conditions now on hearing out of the from the trans community. As you said, he is setting the tone. Says the real divide is between him and corporate America. It doesn't want. He thinks that corporate America should stop bowing to interests. Right? What did you think about that?
I mean, if corporate America didn't bow to interests, I don't know that Black people would have the freedoms that we enjoy in this country. First of all, I think that this is not about corporate America bowing to interests. I know Dave Chappelle says he's been canceled or this is being canceled, but I'd kind of like to be canceled like Dave Chappelle. He's gotten $20 million for his last few specials each. I don't think he's been canceled. I think he's courting this cancel culture because that's a market. But this is about trans people. There's two conversations. What did you think about Dave Chappelle's special? And how do we create a safer America for trans people? Now, the Dave Chappelle special might be part of that conversation, but it is not the main part of that conversation.
So I said to you that, look, I'm sure you offend people with your comedy. You don't think that you offend people at times?
Of course I offend people. I think the idea is like, who are you offending and why are you offending? Dave Chappelle talked about in the special the idea of punching up and punching down. That's an idea I believe in. I only wanted to offend the people who I think it's okay, who I think should be offended. That's how I roll. Mm-hmm. Not every comic works that way. I don't think every comic should work that way, but I do think that once you offend people, you have to deal with the consequences. And right now, Dave Chappelle is hearing from people. But again, none of the people at Netflix, none of the trans employees at Netflix are saying, take his special down. They're saying we want to create an environment through which we can have a more trans-friendly platform and we can feel safer and more listened to at work.
So there's also this underlying tension between Black cisgender heterosexual men and people in the LGBTQ community. Last season on your show, United Shades, you actually spoke to trans women about what people can do better. Here it is.
Cisgender heterosexual men like myself, there's the idea like, if I'm not hurting anybody, if I'm not killing anybody, I'm doing enough. Obviously, we can do more. What can men like me do better?
Let me ask you.
Yes.
What do you feel like the cisgender heterosexual man role is?
I think the hardest thing to do is to tell other cisgender heterosexual men to shut up, to not let that quote-unquote locker room talk go. Obviously, there's things that could be seen as harder, but that stuff happens more often, and it's easier to let go and think, I'm not going to get involved in this.
Because it's not locker room talk, it's violence. You know, like...
People getting killed?
Yeah, like it's violence in that when we're able to laugh at somebody else's humanity being like taken away from them, that wasn't the physical act of violence, but it was the precursor to the physical act of violence because it's been okayed in the minds of the person who might go and do that thing, or the minds of the person who has a child who might go and do that thing.
You actually sat with people and had a conversation where you were open-minded and willing to listen and perhaps change your mind. But what would you tell Dave Chappelle about the conversation you had, and why should he do the same?
I think if he really wants to have a conversation with the trans community, specifically the Black trans community, because I feel like that's one of the big issues here is that Black trans people feel like he wasn't talking about them. He was talking about white trans people. He wasn't including Black trans folks in the conversation who have to deal with the weight of being Black in America and being trans. I don't think you do that by telling them that you're going to set the date and time that you want the conversation. They have to come to you. If you really want to have a conversation, You have to do like what I did. You go to them. I went to Dallas. That was the House of Rebirth. Met with Niecy X, met with Pocahontas, and we sat and had the conversation. And one of the hardest things for stand-up comics to do is shut our mouths and listen. That's what I think I've gotten good at over the last few years of this show, is shutting your mouth and listening. And that's not something that every stand-up comic or even every person wants to do. But even in that conversation, you could see my discomfort, because they said you have to be willing to call out Black cisgender men. And that's still difficult for me. Coming on here right now talking to you about Dave Chappelle, I'm already sort of worried about what this means for comic on comic violence, and I've offended the GOAT, when really I just want to create a world that is more empathetic to the lives of trans people, and specifically Black trans women.
Listen, when we discussed this before, just briefly, but just about you coming on, nothing, you said, oh my gosh, both of us said, man, I don't know, this conversation, I don't know what to do with this conversation. It can be exhausting, it's important, but, you know, everybody feels a certain kind of way, and everybody's going to say something. And I mean, is there anything that you didn't say, Kamau? Because I really respect your perspective.
I mean, to be quite frank, when I watched Chappelle's special, it just sort of bummed me out, because I knew that once again, it's the fans of Chappelle and then the people who stand with Chappelle. We have seen people on the right who are weaponizing Chappelle's word against the trans community. I don't think that's what Dave wants to have happen. I'm not sure. But in this current political environment, that creates less safety for trans people, and again, specifically for Black trans folks. And Dave famously on SNL, when Trump was elected, said, give Trump a chance. And then later he came back and said, oops, that was a mistake. I am sincerely hoping that Dave actually can sit and listen with some trans people and open his mind a little bit and realize that you don't want your jokes to be weaponized against trans folks to make them feel less safe in the world. And again, specifically Black trans folks, who he did not mention in his special.
That's why we have you on, W. Kamau Bell. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.